When we left off in the last video, we were looking at this overview of students in the various groups. Now we're going to look at assessments. So now we want to work in that same 2022 assessment group now, because we know that we have learners in there. So what I want to do is I'm just going to add an assessment here. So that was set on the group, we can't change it. We then have, I'm going to leave it as a theory assessment. I'm going to keep it with a mark. And let's just call this class test 1. We'll leave it out of 100. I'll make this 15. So that weighting percentage is just so that we know that this particular assessment will contribute 15% to the final grade of the learner for this particular course. And let's say that because it's happening, we're a bit delayed now, but we'll say that this assessment was a class test that happened on the 17th of January, and it happened between 10 and 11. It was a 60-minute test. When we scroll further down, you'll see the option that when you add an assessment, you can also create that assessment in other groups. You'd use this if the groups were running concurrently, or if the groups are running at the same time, because then it will help you to set up multiple groups at the same time. Ours are running one after the other, so because they're in succession, we'll come to setting up another group a bit later. Let's just save this. So now we have our first assessment. So we can repeat this process, and maybe we have the system of 2 class tests, so a theory and a practical. And we then say that this one would happen on this day, and students could come for their practical assessment between 8 and 1. Okay. Planning ahead, we know that we're also going to have an assignment for them. And we want this to be worth about a bit more. Let's make it 35. And we don't want to stress them out in the last month, but we need to give them enough time so they have that week to hand in the assignment. And then we're going to have a final assessment for this course. So let's just call this the final exam. And before we do that, you see that our current weighting is 75. Right, that's just a tool to help us round off things nicely to 100. We can go above 100 or be below it, but it's just a helpful tool. So we know that we have 25 left here. So I know that there's 25% left, and this is going to be my final exam. Okay, and the final exam, because we also need to give them the opportunity to rewrite, is going to be in the middle of March. And they'll be doing a 2-hour exam from 10 to 12. Okay, now I said that there'll be a final exam because we're allowing rewrites. In our next video, I'll go into what we do to set up if we know that there's a rewrite, and then we'll move into capturing results and things like that.